Welcome. This video covers Amazon S3 Glacier. Amazon S3 Glacier is a secure, durable, and extremely low-cost cloud storage service for data archiving and long-term backup. When you use the Glacier to archive data, you can store your data at an extremely low cost, even in comparison to Amazon S3. But you cannot retrieve your data immediately when you want it. Data stored in Glacier can take several hours to retrieve, which is why it works well for archiving. There are three key Glacier terms you should be familiar with. An archive is any object, such as a photo, video, file, or document, that you store in Amazon S3 Glacier. It is the base unit of storage. Each archive has its own unique ID, and it can also have a description. A vault is a container for storing archives. When you create a vault, you specify the vault name and the region where you want to locate the vault. A vault access policy determines who can and cannot access the data stored in the volume, and what operations users can and cannot perform. You can create a vault access permissions policy for each vault. You can also use a vault lock policy to make sure that a vault cannot be altered. Each vault can have one vault access policy and one vault lock policy attached to it. You have three options for retrieving data. Expedited retrievals are typically made available within 1 to 5 minutes and have the highest cost. Standard retrievals typically complete within 3 to 5 hours and are less expensive than expedited, but more expensive than bulk. Bulk retrievals typically complete in 5 to 12 hours and are the least expensive. Some common use cases for Glacier include archiving media assets, such as video and news footage, healthcare information archiving. To meet regulatory requirements, hospital systems must retain petabytes of patient records, such as low-income subsidy information or electronic health records, for decades. Regulatory and compliance archiving. Many enterprises, like those in financial services and healthcare, must retain regulatory and compliance archives for extended durations. Amazon S3 Glacier Vault Lock can help you set compliance controls so you can work towards meeting your compliance objectives. Scientific data archiving. Research organizations generate, analyze, and archive large amounts of data. Digital preservation for libraries and government agencies. Agencies must handle data integrity challenges in their digital preservation efforts. Unlike traditional systems, which can require laborious data verification and manual repair, Amazon S3 performs regular, systematic data integrity checks, and it is designed to be automatically self-healing. Magnetic tape replacements. On-premises or off-site tape libraries can lower storage costs, but they can require large upfront investments in specialized maintenance. Amazon S3 Glacier has no upfront cost and reduces the cost and burden of maintenance. To store and access data in Amazon S3 Glacier, you can use the AWS Management Console. However, only a few operations, such as creating and deleting vaults and creating and managing archive policies, are available in the console. For other operations and interactions with Amazon S3 Glacier, you must use either Amazon S3 Glacier REST APIs, the AWS Java or .NET SDKs, or the AWS CLI. You can also use lifecycle policies to archive data into Glacier. You should automate the lifecycle of data that you store in Amazon S3. By using lifecycle policies, you can cycle data at regular intervals between different Amazon S3 storage types. This automation reduces your overall cost because you pay less for data as it becomes less important with time. In addition to setting lifecycle rules per object, you can also set lifecycle rules per bucket. Consider an example of a lifecycle policy that moves data as it ages from Amazon S3 Standard to Amazon S3 Standard Infrequent Access, and finally into Amazon S3 Glacier before it is deleted. Suppose that a user uploads a video to your application, and your application generates a thumbnail preview of the video. This video preview is stored to Amazon S3 Standard because it is likely that the user wants to access it right away. Your usage data indicates that most thumbnail previews are not accessed after 30 days. Your lifecycle policy takes these previews and moves them to Amazon S3 infrequent access after 30 days. After another 30 days elapsed, the preview is likely to not be accessed again. The preview is then moved to Amazon S3 Glacier, where it remains for 1 year. After 1 year, the preview is deleted. The lifecycle policy manages all this movement automatically. Each object in Amazon S3 has a storage class that is associated with it. All the storage classes are designed for 11 nines of durability for objects across multiple availability zones, except Amazon S3 One Zone Infrequent Access, which is in a single availability zone. S3 Standard works well for performance-sensitive use cases and frequently used data. Standard is the default storage class in Amazon S3. S3 Intelligent Tiering is designed to optimize cost by automatically moving data to the most cost-effective access tier without impacting performance or operational costs. S3 Standard Infrequent Access is optimized for long-lived and less frequently accessed data. For example, backups in older data that are accessed less frequently, but still require high performance. S3 One Zone Infrequent Access stores data in a single availability zone and costs less than S3 Standard Infrequent Access. S3 One Zone Infrequent Access works well for customers who want a lower cost option for infrequently accessed data, but do not require the availability and resilience of S3 Standard or S3 Standard Infrequent Access. S3 Glacier is suitable for archiving data where access is infrequent and a retrieval time of several hours is acceptable. Archived objects are not available for real-time access. They must be restored before they can be accessed. The S3 Glacier storage class is very low cost. S3 Glacier Deep Archive is the lowest storage class for Amazon S3, and it supports the long-term retention and digital preservation of data that might be accessed once or twice a year. It is designed for customers that must retain data sets for 7 to 10 years or longer to meet regulatory compliance requirements. While Amazon S3 and Amazon S3 Glacier are both object storage solutions that enable you to store virtually unlimited amounts of data, they have some critical differences between them. The chart outlines some of these differences. 1. Be careful when you decide which storage solution is correct for your needs. These two services serve very different storage needs. Amazon S3 is designed for frequent, low-latency access to your data. But Amazon S3 Glacier is designed for low-cost, long-term storage of infrequently accessed data. Because you get faster access with S3, the storage cost per gigabyte is higher than it is with Glacier. 2. The maximum item size in Amazon S3 is 5 terabytes, but Amazon S3 Glacier can store items that are up to 40 terabytes in size. While both services have per-request charges, Amazon S3 charges for put, copy, post, list, and get operations. In contrast, Amazon S3 Glacier charges for upload and retrieval operations. Because Amazon S3 Glacier was designed for less frequent access to data, it costs more for each retrieval request than Amazon S3. Another important difference between Amazon S3 and Amazon S3 Glacier is how data is encrypted. Server-side encryption is focused on protecting data at rest. With both solutions, you can securely transfer your data over HTTPS. Any data you archive in Glacier is encrypted by default. With Amazon S3, your application must initiate server-side encryption. There are several ways to enable server-side encryption in Amazon S3. First, you can use server-side encryption with Amazon S3 Managed Encryption Keys, or SSE S3. Amazon S3 encrypts each object with a unique key. As an additional safeguard, it encrypts the key with a main key that it rotates regularly. Amazon S3 server-side encryption uses one of the strongest block ciphers available, 256-bit Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES 256, to encrypt your data. Next, you can use server-side encryption with customer-provided encryption keys, what is known as SSE-C. This option enables you to set your own encryption keys. You include the encryption key as part of your request, and Amazon S3 manages both encryption as it writes to disks and decryption when you access your objects. Finally, you can use server-side encryption with AWS Key Management Service, or AWS KMS. AWS KMS is a service that combines secure, highly available hardware and software to provide a key management system that is scaled for the cloud. AWS KMS uses customer master keys to encrypt your Amazon S3 objects. You access KMS through the encryption keys section in the IAM console. You can also access AWS KMS through the API to centrally create encryption keys, define the policies that control how keys can be used, and audit key usage to prove that they are being used correctly. By default, only you can access your data. There are two different layers of security you can apply to Glacier. First, you can enable and control access to your data in Amazon S3 Glacier by using IAM. You set up an IAM policy that specifies user access. Secondly, Glacier encrypts your data by default, and you can choose how you want to manage the keys to that encrypted data. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Welcome to this demonstration video on Amazon S3 Glacier. In the AWS Management Console, you click Services, scroll down to Storage, and highlight S3 Glacier. Amazon S3 Glacier provides 11 nines of durability, just like Amazon S3. You create a vault, and in that vault you can store backup or archival data, such as compliance data, or use it to replace your magnetic tapes. You can create an archive, and that archive can be 40 terabytes in size. And you can have as many archives as you want within your vault, meaning that you basically have unlimited storage. You are charged per gigabyte per month, and it's a lower price than you would be charged in Amazon S3. So if you have infrequently accessed data, or you're required to store data a number of years based upon some regulation, then Amazon S3 Glacier is for you. Data in is free. Data out is charged at various rates. And I say various rates because it depends on if you're sending that data to the internet or you're sending it to a different Amazon service. So make sure that you check aws.amazon.com and search the web page for Amazon S3 Glacier, and there is a pricing guide there. All of your vaults are replicated across multiple availability zones, thereby ensuring your data integrity. To create a vault, just click Create Vault. You would select the region. In this case, I'm using US East in Northern Virginia, and I'd give it a vault name. So we can call this Compliance 2019. Click Next. I can set up notifications to let me know when certain S3 Glacier jobs are complete. In this case, I can do it with a new SNS topic or enable notifications to use an existing SNS topic that is created within my AWS account. In this case, I'm not going to create any and just leave it as do not enable notifications. Next step gives me a review, and I go ahead and click Submit. One of the things to understand within Amazon S3 Glacier is that you don't access it through the AWS Management Console. You can access it through the command line interface, the AWS CLI, or a third-party tool.
It's now time to review the module and wrap up with a practice certification exam question. In summary, you learned how to identify the different types of storage, explain and describe the functionality of Amazon S3, Amazon EBS, Amazon EFS, and Amazon S3 Glacier. You also learned about the different use cases for these services and how to pick the right storage solution based on your requirements. Great work! Let's look at a sample certification question. A company wants to store data that is not frequently accessed. What is the best and cost-effective solution that should be considered? In this example, the key words to recognize are not frequently accessed and cost-effective solution. Based on the keywords we identified, the correct answer is B, Amazon S3 Glacier. Glacier is the most cost-effective way to store data that is not accessed frequently. Thanks for watching.